Just gonna rush it out because he's letting everybody come in. On the Telegram land, slum everybody out there. Can y'all hear me out there? Can y'all hear us out there clear?
Yes.
Turn y'all down. What the fuck? right. I just robbed my whole self. Thank you, brother. Wrong time. My sister supposed to have got some snacks. She went and got a whole meal going. You are. Oh, you gotta use the one on the first floor. You gotta lock it here. Okay. No, I ain't do that. You know, I'd never do nothing like that. I was just, I was doing that shit, you know, man. Change my word. This was somebody who I was a long copy and was sitting here and writing it, you know.
I got it.
So that's what I gotta do. I gotta go make some copies and learn like some.
I have a shine still, but it has
Boss you up. I kind of boss you too. This is one sheet of paper for signing sheet.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a good college. It's long Telegram land. We're gonna get started. We don't know why. You can give me that urge. Do some operation back this so I can operate this way. Shit. Oh, you know about to take some cars out, man.
Yeah, I ain't know.
You ain't coming to play with that anymore.
Yeah, I ain't know.
More Swan Deal. These more. You can keep that right there. I'm going to extra. That's exactly what 6 o'clock. Good in Telegram land. Islam, everybody in Telegram land. We're going to get started. I think I see all the speakers on here. I see Brother Hellraiser. Islam, brother. Thank you for coming.
Peace.
The brother Kenny Ill. I don't know if you're on here. I don't see his name. He'll be our first speaker. But the brother Kenny Ill gonna be in and out because he had a situation where he has a meeting at the same day, so it's all well. But it's gonna be a impactful day. We got a lot of information to bring to you. If you want any consultations after this, all the speakers will leave their information and for you to reach out. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And we're going to get this show started as well. Is that fan in your way?
No, you're fine. You're speaking from the podium right here, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And let's see. And if you could, I just need you to kind of like wear this underneath your kind of like you can like blend stuff together or
come up the street.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Being recorded. The family is off the reasons, followed by the divine constitution by law. Sister AF Sister, Super Walker Earl Street. Oh, happy holiday. Happy holiday.
Happy holiday.
And we will now give praise and allegiance to the Moorish Sons Temple of the Mount. Islam, you can now see. This unity that we, the sons and daughters of the ancient Moabite blood, have established upon these shores of this alien civilization shall be preserved at all costs through the bonds of Ali's holy and divine laws. If we violate these universal laws and principles by preferring a stranger before their own sacred blood, they will claim the support of our forefathers turned upon us, and the wrath of Allah strike us down 7 times. We pledge our allegiance, loyalty to Ali, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Our Constitution of our law, that is the sheep is got to Islam.
Happy Holy Day.
Happy Holy Day.
I will now have the reading of the Divine Constitution of our lives. Salvation, Allah, Unity, the Moorish Temple of America, Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh is the chairman of the Moorish Temple of America, is empowered to make laws and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Temple of America. The assisting Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended into his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Islam. Act 4. All members must observe these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because being a Moorish American, you are part and partial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era in time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meeting and become a part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and become industrious and be a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, the founder, Moorish American prayer.
Yeah, please lead our prayer. All rise for prayer. Face the east. And this one.
Islam.
Israel. Feels touching. Feet at a 45-degree angle. Spread your wings, angels. 5 to the left and 2 to the right. Repeat after me, the Lord's prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
The Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace.
Freedom.
And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My God. And my salvation. By night. And by day. It was holy prophet. Drew Ali. Amen. Now we see Islam. Salvation of our unity, Morris. Islam. Thank you for that reading. Sister, she was walking ill. Islam. Thank you for that. So I'm going to put this on. Islam. Happy Holy Day.
Happy Holy Day.
Islam to the Moors in the Telegram land. Islam. Up on me. Islam. Yeah, it's a holy day, but it's one of them days where everything happens fast. It's a fast day. Everybody rushing to get home from the toilet. Islam. Everybody trying to rush to the club. Islam. Everybody trying to rush to get dressed, get the beauty supply at the last minute. Islam.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
So this is one of them days. So let's just all rest. Let's slow down. Because I know I need to slow down. Sister told me earlier, she said, brother, you just need to slow down. Have a breath. Islam. Today is our holy day of rest, you know. Islam. Because when we rest, we can be still. When we still, we can manifest from that. And we here to manifest some things today. We here to bring a message to people. A message that brought through the guidance of our Father God Allah through his prophet. That message is to redeem man back to the place where he once lost. What we lost is our nationality, which is our sovereignty. So this 2023, it's time to reclaim our sovereignty. I want to first rise and give praise to Father God Allah, the creator of love, the creator of truth, the creator of freedom, peace, and justice. Islam, we got a lot of different perspectives of truth. But see, there's only one creator of truth. So therefore, it's only one truth, even though Allah gave us a different understanding. He gave everybody their own portion of understanding. So today, I bring you some messengers of Allah who come to bring you their portion of understanding on the subject of sovereignty, status correction. It's a controversial subject. Oh, you got a controversial brother up there. See, I like to speak about things that need to be spoken about. See, sovereignty is a word like a curse word. It's like a word where it's misunderstood and misused all the time. So we want to bring some understanding to this word, sovereignty and status correction. And we're going to bring it from different perspectives. We're going to bring it from perspectives of those who are members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, those who are not members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, those who are not even identify themselves as Moors. Because, see, it's different perspectives of the same truth. See, we all want to get to this end game, this end of the road called salvation, paradise, heaven. We all want to reach our goals. But how are we going to get there is the different perspectives of the different organizations on how they want to get there. But see, I just want to get there, Morris. Islam, I just want to reach salvation. Now, if I got to go talk to the church and organize and unite with the church for us to get to salvation, then that's what I'm going to do. If I got to go out to the politicians and city hall members, government officials, to reach our salvation? That's what I'm going to do, more. Because I'm a seeker of the truth. See, before I was an A-up, I was a neophyte. I was a seeker of the light. See, Noble Drew Ali found me in darkness. It took me out of a state of mind because I was seeking to get out of that. I had hope as my beacon light. And Noble Drew Ali found me with that hope I had. Put me on the 3-step ladder to salvation, boys. So I honor our noble prophet, because he brought us this message of status correction. He said, Morris, do all business in your old name and do all business in your new free national name. He said there's only one remedy for the people, and that's to claim your free national name in religion before this constitutional government. And he said to enforce the Constitution. He said the Moors, the Asiatics, need to learn to love instead of hate. This is the name of the Asiatic nations. We have a holy covenant with each other. We all come from the same mother and the same father. See, we got a common ancestor somewhere down the road. So we all brothers and sisters, and it's time to start acting like it. Because the only way we're going to get to some sovereignty is through unity. That means we're going to have to start putting some differences to the side. Because we all got a common goal and a common enemy. And it's only ourselves, our Lord self. Your only enemy is you. So, we the only one stopping us is us. When we going to form us a government, like the Honorable Marcus Garvey said, the only protection for you Negroes is to have your own government. He said intelligence rules the world, but ignorance carries the burden. Oh, get ready to carry that burden, Morris. If you want to live in ignorance, oh, the European got a burden for you. Oh, he got something coming. 2023 is a special year. Oh, yeah, the European telling the truth now. Like the prophet said. He said, just keep watching the TV. Keep watching the radio. The European going to tell you the truth. See, Noble Drew Ali came 100 years ago to give you this truth. But y'all rejected him. Islam. But now he back. His spirit still lives. And us all right here. His spirit lives in us. We his children. We the generation that he counted on. He knew in the year 2000 the wars was going to come into their own. That's back in 1920. We here, boy. We here to unite. All unsigned Moroccan flag. 10,000 years old. Let us running some government around here. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun, huh? But that 5-pointed green star will represent the 5 points, highest points known to man. That's love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. See, that's what we build upon ourselves. We got principles, high principles around here. See, we ain't just walking and acting and talking any type of way. No, when you say you are more, it's a character come with that.
Nope.
See, it's this. All other governments, they got this. As long as you want to mute yourself on and tell us, man. As long as make sure you hit the mute button. Islam. When you talking about those 5 principles, you got to know and love them 5 principles. Islam. I don't understand a receipt right here. Some call it the American flag. Some call it U.S. banner. Some might call it Star Spangled Banner. I call it my receipt. That's my receipt, more. Because I'm going to get that payback from my ancestors. See, we ain't looking for no reparations. See, reparation means to repair a nation. So we don't get what's ours in due time. And we come to claim ours. See, an heir got to claim his inheritance. You don't sit around waiting on it. It's time to reclaim our sovereignty. And they owe us a compounded interest. That national debt is up to what? Trillion? Woo! We already rich, Morris. We already got unlimited credit. You got to understand. So without further ado, I want to give all honor to our oracle speakers. Islam, all honor to the members who made it across these shores and made their pilgrimage all the way to Houston from Chicago and Los Angeles. And we got Moors coming from everywhere, even though they're still late. They made it in town. Islam, because time never was around here. Islam, we don't know nothing about time. We measure time by ages. And we're in the age of Aquarius. And it's that age of knowledge. Ain't no more age of guessing and believing. We losing belief when we walk in faith. But we walk in faith and not by belief. Islam. So we got three special speakers. Let them on in. Islam. You can keep that door too. Islam. Islam. We got three speakers. Come on, listen. Peace and love. So you have to see what the comfortable chairs right here. You got a sister sitting in you can still one of these comfortable chairs since you have the sister sitting in the comfortable chair first. You know? Probably say you gotta have a deep appreciation for going through. So we got three amazing speakers that came here to deliver some messages to you today, boys. I mean, one of the brothers even brought a whole low light period out for you, man. Woo, he said he don't know where to go with it, because he might go to take you to the highest plane of life today. We got Moors coming from all the way from Chicago and Virginia. We got Moors who just want to spread the knowledge to you. And been waiting on an opportunity to do so. So I want to give honor to everybody that's here in the Telegram land as well. All honor to you in the Telegram land. Reached out to me through the Instagram or the Facebook or however you got this message. You here now, and I'm here to deliver. Islam, I'm here to give you your money worth, even though it's a free event. Time is money. Islam, you still have to make sacrifices. Some of y'all came from across the lake. Huge sacrifices was made. I had to take off work or whatever. Islam, I appreciate you. I come to deliver. I say to myself, more, this is going to be the best speech I ever gave in my life. So far. So far. It's love. It's love. I'm trying to outdo myself today, Morris. Feel like I have. And I got some speakers that, now these not just any speakers. These is brothers who helped me along my journey. Before I was even Grand Sheik, I knew some of these brothers. I knew all these brothers before I was Grand Sheik. They watched me grow in my sheikhood. And they gave me jewels along the way. So I never forget where I come from, boys. So these brothers have a message that helped me, and I know it's going to help you. Our first oracle speaker comes all the way from Virginia. I see him online. He in 2 meetings right now. This is Super Bowl right here. This is Supreme Divine Minister in the Grand Sheik. Virginia. You know, that was where one of the first colonies was established. Jamestown, Virginia. Named Dr. King James, 1611 AD. Islam. So this brother bringing out some message from when people was colonized. He escaped those bonds of mental slavery. Islam. And found the truth. The prophet found this brother. And this is my made-up brother. He didn't ill. Islam. Are you there, more?
Islam. Can you?
Islam. We revert our attention to speaking, brother. You have the floor. The floor is now yours, more.
Islam, more. Islam. First, we rise, we give complete and perfect praise to Allah, who is the author that created the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. I extend honors to his prophet, my prophet, your prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for restoring our nationality and our birthrights here in northwestern Mexham. I extend honors to the harbinger to the prophet Marcus Mosiah Garvey for paving the way and telling the nation to prepare to meet the coming prophet who would bring in the true and divine creed of Islamism. So honor to Marcus Garvey. We give honor to the charter bearing the 10 wonders of the world, which gives us the authority to propagate the faith of the great prophet Ali in America and extend the learnings. Honors to the flags that make us Moorish. Honors to all past and present leaders of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Honors to the Grand Sheikh in this house, Brother Antoine Bey, good Grand Sheikh. He lives his life according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the members. So honors to you, brother man. Honors to each and every one of you that can hear the sound of my voice on this blessed holy day. And praise Allah. And honor to my daughter, Kimani. She's right here with us as well. So Islam. So reclaiming our sovereignty. Man, this is a hot topic. And very hot topic, because more is always, we always want to talk about sovereignty. So I want to start by first just pulling out of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, a reference point to get a clear understanding of how sovereignty is brought and taught to us as true American citizens, using the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet. And there's only one time in the Holy Quran that this word sovereignty is used. And I think I want to start there. So first, this is chapter 29, magistrate and subject. And I'll be reading the first 3 instructions and demonstrating from there. So instruction 1, O thou, the favorite of heaven, whom the sons of men, thy equals, have agreed to raise to sovereign power and set as a ruler over themselves. Consider the ends and importance of their trust, far more than the dignity and the height of thy station. Thou art clothed in purple and seated on a throne. The crown of majesty invests thy temples. The scepter of power is placed in thine hand, but not for thyself were these ensigns given, not meant for thine own, but the good of thy kingdom. The glory of a king is the welfare of his people. His power and dominion rests on the hearts of his subjects. So Islam, praise Allah. So I just wanted to briefly demonstrate on those instructions. First off, did you notice that the word sovereignty is used but taught to us in the context that essentially, I'm going to share my thoughts, is that you're only as sovereign as the people who got your back. Sovereignty is not something that an individual can obtain independently. Only nations can be sovereign. The only true way to obtain your sovereignty in one short breath is to proclaim your nationality. First and foremost, because without a nation backing you, without free national standards that we are living by to further the interests of our nation, then realistically, you're not a sovereign. So the individualized ideology of sovereignty, I do intend to correct that today, because many of the processes and concepts that we're being taught and are being offered as far as the ways to obtain sovereignty, they don't apply to true American citizens. They don't apply to those that operate and function under the Constitution and follow the government. A lot of the individualized ideology that we hear is just unnecessary. So I just want to make it very simple. If you want sovereignty, and what is sovereignty? Sovereignty is supreme authority, having supreme jurisdiction over your life, over your freedom, your choices, everything. How do you obtain true sovereignty to where you have supreme jurisdiction and you are the final decision maker for your life and what you're going to do? First, you have to understand that Allah and man are one. Stop looking for salvation outside of self and learn to look within. Once you understand that Allah is in you and everything that you need is within, you know how to meditate. You know to align yourself with the will of Allah so you can enjoy these things. And remember, the universal Allah is wisdom, will, and love. So the concept of having sovereignty to where, again, you got the freedom to do whatever you desire to do, as long as you're not infringing upon the rights of another, that's a birthright that we already have. Our sovereignty was taken away from us when our birthright was stripped away from us. And we got branded as Negroes, blacks, and colors. And we became subjects to the Christian black codes. We became subjects to the Christian society. More importantly, European psychology, because Christianity is all right for those who prefer it. We don't got an issue with religion and Christianity. We have a problem with European psychology being imposed on us when we should not be thinking like that. Unless you are of European descent, then you should honor your foremothers and your forefathers appropriately. But with us, in the mind of a Muslim, in the mind of a true American citizen. How do you obtain your sovereignty? You live by the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. First, you live a good, clean life. Okay? You exercise. You take care of your mind, your body, your soul. You eat healthy. You drink healthy. You have to show that self-love for yourself, because if you don't have the discipline to function as a ruler, as a sovereign, as a ruler within a sovereign nation, not sovereign individuals, because again, it's not possible. The prophet teaches, and I'm gonna just hammer this point. It says, whom the sons of men, the favorite of heaven. And remember, heaven is a state of mind. We're not talking about a physical place. Heaven and hell is a state of mind, a place that we can create here on earth. Right now, we are in first heaven. All of you that can hear the sound of my voice, we are in first heaven. We have first heaven going on all around the country. I serve as Grand Sheik of Temple 14 here in Virginia Beach. We got a Holy Day meeting going on right now as well. We're celebrating first heaven. We are also celebrating our charter day. This is 6 years that we've been a chartered organization propagating the faith. This is how you obtain your sovereignty. Okay? So, the sons of men, thy equals, have agreed to raise thee to sovereign power. You get raised to sovereign power. By who? The sons of man. Your equal. People who recognize, when you don't see yourself, others can just be discovered most plainly. So where we see brothers and sisters may be subject matter experts in different areas of life, what we tend to do is raise them individuals up. And we say, hey, you're sharp in this. And I'm going to use our beloved Grand Sheik Antoine Bey. That Mo know credit better than most people. He know it better than me. And I consider myself to be intelligent in finance. But when I sat down and met this Grand Sheik, this brother first, because we brothers before we sheiks and Grand Sheiks and all that stuff. But when I sat down with my brother a few years ago, and when I met him in Mecca during the convention, and listened to him speak about it, I was like, wow. Brother's passionate about it. The brother's knowledgeable. And he got science I don't have in this industry. So what am I going to do? As his equal, as a son of man, I'm going to get with the other equals and say, hey, y'all, we're going to raise him up. We're going to place him as a ruler over ourselves because he can teach and he can lead in this regard. So honestly, you all, for having a good Grand Sheik in Texas, Temple 84, who lives his life accordingly, who's knowledgeable, who's been raised up to sovereign power by his equal and placed as a ruler, not to be a dictator, because mind you, it also says, and I'm going to skip around a little bit, but I'm going to stay in these 3 instructions. But not for thyself were these end signs given, not meant for thine own, but the good of thy kingdom. This is for the kingdom that we are all a part of. Every L and Bay, every Asiatic that's a part of Asiatic nations in North America. So we are blessed to have good leaders, to have good brothers and sisters who are raised up, again, to sovereign power. Not as a sovereign individual, but to sovereign power. So what is that power that you have as a sovereign? You're empowered to make and enforce law. Act 1. That tells you the power and the authority that's been invested into the bona fide leaders, the faithful, those who are entitled to the name of faithful and earn the highest title. Islam.
Islam, somebody want to mute yourself?
Whoop that ass.
I got you.
Islam. Praise Allah, honor to his prophet. Now, go back to these instructions. I'm going to go back and revisit instruction 1 again. The second part, it says, consider the ends and importance of their trust, far more than the dignity and the height of thy safety. So what does that mean for an individual who's been raised up to sovereign power? That means you got to consider the ends and importance of their trust. The trust of who? The people who raised you up. The people who trust you to educate our children, who trust you to educate our posterity. Trust us. And consider the ends important, the importance of our trust, far more than the dignity and the height of that station, because the station is finite. Being raised to a sovereign power within a sovereign nation is a finite position that comes with it's a work, it's an assignment. What is included in this assignment? You got to propagate the faith and extend the learnings. That means you got to do exactly what every Grand Sheik is doing every Friday, every holy day, keeping the doors open, creating the space for the Moorish Americans to come in and learn the truth about our nationality and our divine creed. You don't got to pay for this. You don't got to do no fancy stuff. This is your birthright. You are entitled to it. All you got to do is show up. And you got to be faithful. And you got to demonstrate the two highest degrees of anybody who's skillful in the application of the science, which is sincerity and justice. This is the process to obtaining your sovereignty. You come into the Moorish Science Temple of America, especially if you've been branded as Negro, Black, and colored, because that's how they separated you from the sovereign nation. Let's do the names. What shall we call him? They've been trying to figure out what to brand us for the purpose of separating us from the illustrious history of our foremothers and our forefathers. But here we are, 2023. This movement was founded in 1913. We're talking about over 100 years, Morris. And the prophet said in the year 2000, we were coming to our own. We are only 23 years into the years 2000. So right now, be patient. And most importantly, hold yourself accountable to being a good citizen. Every person who is a part of our sovereign nation is a true American citizen. Every person, every individual who's a part of our sovereign nation is a Muslim, according to their acts, words, and deeds, not by lip service, but their actions, their words, and their deeds are one with Allah. That's the goal here. So the simple strategy and philosophy, man, you want to be sovereign? Be faithful. Make your meetings. Drink water. Keep your heart and your mind pure with love and your body clean with water. Do right by yourself and do right by others. And Allah will bless you. And the last thing, just to hammer that point again, the glory of the king is the welfare of his people. His power and dominion rests in the hearts of his subjects. So I'm going to apply this concept to kings and queens. I know we got some more Moabites on the line. We got some sisters who've also been raised in sovereign power, who also demonstrate their ability to propagate the faith effectively. Because that's all we're here to do. We teach two things in the Moorish Science Temple of America. Two things you need to obtain your sovereignty. Nationality, divine creed. Once you get those two things and you begin to think for yourself, man, so many doors will be opened up to you. You will meet so many Moors who are knowledgeable, scholars, great people. Islam. And that was reinforced by my daughter, Kimani. She done met some of them too, as she's meeting some of y'all tonight. But encourage us, man, and honor to you again, Grand Chief, for organizing this conference, honor to all the speakers. And I missed the first portion as I was preparing to get my daughter together. But in closing, I just would like to close out with the Royal Renaissance. I don't even know if you demonstrated it or not, Grand Sheik, but I'm going to demonstrate it again if you did, because I think it's important to understand that this is what the agreement that we have within our sovereign nation for everybody that's a part of our sovereign nation. This unity that we, the sons and daughters of the ancient Moabite blood, have established upon these shores of northwestern in this alien civilization, be preserved at all costs of Ali's holy and divine laws. And if we violate these universal laws or principles by burning a stranger before thy own blood, may the flame fall upon us the wrath of Allah and strike us down 7 times. We pledge our allegiance to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And with that, I say peace. I love you all. I turn the meeting back over to our Grand Chief, Antoine Bey, Islam.
Islam. Islam was?
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
Islam. Woo-wee. That Moses set me on fire with love and love and zeal. I'm more than a high degree in science. I'm more went to chapter 29 more. Magistrated subject. I need to go home and read that again. Islam? Yeah, boy, you want to stay right here with those steps.
So, a couple people on Telegram said they can't get out.
Telegram?
Yeah. Okay.
Just go straight back. Just go this way. All right, you do that. Yeah, ain't much wrong, man. We make it work. Things are a lot. Thank you, brother, for those beautiful words, wonderful words. I know you in and out of meetings, and you handle business in your holy day service as well, more so. All honesty for bringing that holy breath. Our lives are holy breath. So when you get that holy breath, that's our lives speaking through a vessel, using us as vessels. Islam. That brother was with me when I became an AF. Islam. So that brother always been in my ear giving me some holy breath. Since he first met me, we was in a parade. Boy hopped out the car and hopped in my car. I said, I ain't even know him more. I was going to do hop in my car. Islam. More just a very high-spirited brother, good brother. And that boy gonna reach out to you. And he connect with you, you somebody special. That brother's somebody special. He has high energy since I met him. Coming all the way from Virginia, the brother spoke on magistrate and subject. That's something you should always review, magistrate and subject. Because when we talk about sovereignty, see, more you can't be out here no sovereign citizen, more. See, they want to call you that because of the lack of understanding you have when you're using these concepts and principles and sending in your paperwork and things, man. Who you with? That's what they're asking. Who you with? That's what the more explaining to you. You can't, even though you born with a sovereign right, you exercise it through a body. See, we are the body of Christ. That's a body politic. See, the body ain't just got one part. And be the grand sheep, and be the head. But I need my neck. I need shoulders. I need my feet. I need the moving parts. The body, nothing without the head is nothing without the body. So no one person can be a sovereign and execute and exercise sovereignty alone. It's through unity. The Europeans, how you think they colonized us? Through unity. They put their differences to the side for a quick second. And they say that's coming to the Union States of America. The unity, boys. See, we got too many differences. I hear sisters telling me, oh, man, I can't join that movement. I can't wrap my hair. I ain't gonna put no turban on. I say, wow. Sisters in this movement. And we can't put aside one difference. I got brothers too. Oh man, I ain't finna have nobody. My grand, ain't nobody over me. I say, wow. And that's why this chapter, magistrate and subject, is so important because it lets you know, as Grand Sheik said, subject, a magistrate, pardon me, what his state of mind has to be. Remember the importance of Diane's is what it says. Those your equals who raise you to sovereign power. I'm just a representative of our sovereign rights. That's it. Representation. Can't tell nobody what to do. You can't tell me what to do. You know? But what I am here to do is follow the orders and the duties of my position. I am going to follow my instructions from the Holy Prophet. But we all got the right to do what we want to do, how we want to do it. As long as you don't step on my toes. Don't stop me from doing what I want to do, how I want to do it. And that's what law is. Law is protection. Government is protection. People think government is restriction. No. See, the Europeans have restricted you because they've never been your government. See, you never lived under law. You lived under mental slavery and political slavery. You never had a government. You had a de facto government under the color of law, depriving you of your rights. So we had to have a prophet remind us of our birthright. And his message is still ringing to this day, 100 years later. I got it in the middle of my dark. So what I want to say to you today is this. It's time for us to understand government. Just know what you this prophet we have, know what you Ali brought us something called government. And through government we can exercise our sovereignty. And I know we don't like to join no groups, join no gangs and no things like that. I don't like to join nothing. I don't join nothing. I gotta know the ins and outs. I need to have a literature on it. I need to know who's running it. I need to know what is the state of mind of the people in it. So that's why we present this awareness to you today. Because, see, everything we have is transparent. Ain't no secrets here. All secrets we reveal here. We read the Constitution in the beginning of the meeting to let you know. We tell you what our principles are around here. You know who our leaders are. Know what drive me and Marcus Garvey. Have a sister sit over there to the side so you don't be yeah, y'all want to put y'all things, y'all can use that back to Hey, Mo, one of the most, y'all go downstairs, Mo, Michael Gill, can you go downstairs to the back and get your food? My mother brought me up, she got a black apple. So without further ado, boys, I don't want to be up here all day because I can go 2 hours by myself. We're going to get to the next speaker. Our next speaker comes all the way from my hometown, Chicago, Mecca. Where the prophet said, this is our Mecca. He said, this is Chicago. This brother has reached out to me, and he didn't even have to. He already had his own movement going. He already got his own following going. He already got his own set of ways of doing things. But he opened up his heart and mind for unity. He put his difference to the side. This brother runs an organization called the Malakan Empire, tribal organization. He teaches people sovereignty, status correction, nationality, and a lot of the things that I teach, just a different perspective. Islam. And me, I'm not a closed-minded brother. So I don't care where you come from. I'm listening to what you got to say and where we trying to go with this. And the brother trying to go where we trying to go with this. And that's the paradise, salvation, freedom. And he understands we don't have no freedom. Islam. And this brother is a great asset for the Moors. Great asset. We putting together some things on the vaccine. Ooh, we going to present to you, Morris. It's going to set your souls on fire with love and holy zeal. You're going to say, whoa! These Moors are carrying out the work of Noble Drew for sure. Without a question. Without a shadow of a doubt. So this Moor goes by the name of General Hellraiser. I salute him as a general. Islam. Because it takes a lot of work to do what we doing here in leaders. And I'm not a big old leader like Farrakhan or got millions of followers more, but my work is equal. Islam, it's hard work and sacrifices every day, day in, day out. So any brother that's walking that life and put himself on the front line, to me, is a general, for sure. This brother's name is General Hellraiser. Islam. Islam. And I want the brother to come here and raise some hell today. Islam. And raise us back to the highest plane of life. Islam. Brother, General Hellraiser, are you on the line?
Peace, peace.
Peace and love, boy. I yield the floor. The floor is now yours, boy. Peace and love.
Appreciate that. Appreciate you guys having me. I know we limited on time, so I'm gonna get right to it. In the beginning, we was born into the matrix. In the midst of that matrix, we had to be unplugged in some way, form, or fashion. So what we was plugged into is called a program. When you go to school, you are subject to a program. The program has a purpose. The program's purpose was never intended for you to understand that you was tied into a program, nor it definitely wasn't a goal for you to ever to make it out of that program. All right. Are we doing video?
Yes, more. We are. You can share your video. Indeed.
What about screen sharing and stuff like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got you on the screen right there, more. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can do screen share too. There you go.
All right. So in the beginning, everything is based upon some type of contract in some type of way, form, or fashion. All right. So the first contract that you get hit with that we don't realize, of course, because we're ignorant to the point of contracts and in any form of fashion, whether it's verbal contracts, physical contracts, and probably most importantly, spiritual contracts. So the first contract you go into is in the middle of majority of us was in some type of majority of our parents were in some form of vulnerable state in the midst of giving birth to us or whatever. So a lot of this stuff was going on inside the hospital rooms or whatever. So the first contract is called the involuntary acknowledgement of paternity, right? So this is the birth certificate application. All right. So this stuff is typically given to you guys right when the woman is getting ready to deliver the baby, and all this stuff is purposely done, right? So of course we're not having time to actually read this particular contract, nor understand the legalities of the contract, and that's the whole point of it. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, right? Now, usually a lot of the things that we need to understand about the contract, as far as our rights, and especially the rights that we're waiving, is always on the back of the application, which we never ever read the back. Just like most of us have never read the back of the Social Security card that said this Social Security card does not belong to you and you must return it when we ask for it. But we all were sold the illusion that this is my Social Security card. My. None of this stuff that they ever gave you was yours. It is their property just as well as the name that was given to you that happens to look like the given name that your parents gave you. So it's all based on assumptions and illusions. All right. So when we first go to this acknowledgement of paternity, of course, it's asking for general information, parents' names and stuff like that, place of birth. But the most important part of this, and this is actually the Illinois version, so you guys can always pull this up. It's called a VAP, Voluntary Acknowledgement of Paternity. This is the first contract that you guys go into contract with the United States, which is the people or the organization that we are trying to manage our contracts with. So this is anytime we want to find answers to a problem, to any problem, you always got to go to the source of the problem. That's general logic of anything all around the board, no matter what you're comparing it to. So the source of the beginning of the problem of these issues in relation to sovereignty and status correction always goes back to the original contracts. So you want to start dealing with the problems, go back to one of the original contracts, the birth certificate application. So everybody's authenticating birth certificates, but I don't hear people talking about the actual application and contract itself. So right here it says, by signing, I acknowledge that I've read my rights and responsibilities and instructions on the other side of this form. Nobody ever turned on the back. I've been provided an oral explanation. That's when the doctor was like, yes, this says and such this, and you say, and sign. And it says, we provided you an oral explanation about the voluntary acknowledgement of paternity, and I understand my rights and responsibilities created. They use it, the United States government usually don't ever use the word created in relation to us because they have to acknowledge our power and ability to create because we are originally gods and goddess, right? So they have to let us know that you understand and recognize your rights created and waived by signing this form. Let me blow it up. All right. Then they make this big right here about the genetic test, blah blah blah, whatever. Now, of course, we both sign off and give consent within this contract, both the mother and the father. And of course, the majority of our parents do not reserve their rights within the contracts. How do we reserve our rights? UCC 1-308 next to the signature. We don't have to understand the legal science behind everything. Just make a new habit of reserving your rights in any contract. I don't care if it's a birth certificate application or a receipt at Wendy's. Whatever you're doing, reserve your rights in the contract. All right. So now years down the later go on, and a lot of the men deal with issues like child support, which is another third party agency, which is a third party debt collector that contracts the courts in order to receive some type of financial gain for the for the victim or whatever like that. But we're up under the assumption that they are in direct affiliation with the courts, as if there is a court. Child support court is not a real court, right? It's a fictitious venue. Now, they tell you not only this is a birth certificate application, because a lot of the men that's dealing with child support really try to figure out like how is this happening? How is this right? I don't even know these guys. I don't have a contract with these guys. When did I agree? When did I agree to this? Right? And you didn't know that you agreed to this or gave a percentage of consent by way of your parents through the birth certificate application, because it tells you right here at the bottom of the application to request a certified copy, go to childsupport.illinois.gov. All right. If you want a certified copy, so that means you can get the certified copy of the original contract and do what everybody's doing with the birth certificate, which is authenticate that. So now if you authenticate the actual application, authentication means this document is just as good as the original. So now we have the potential to actually resend. So when you get the actual certified copy, what's going to happen is they're going to send you a letter back, and it's going to come back from the governor. So it's going to look like this. So this is coming from the governor of Illinois, and it's giving acknowledgement of the original contract. And they also gives me an option right here to rescind the rescission of voluntary acknowledgement of paternity. And boom, case dismissed. So on to the next one. All right. So outside of that is the Social Security number. You know what I'm saying? Now, the Social Security number only applies to you by your usage. Anytime you use Social Security number, okay, now you're dealing with that particular legal entity. You see what I mean? If you never use a social, it doesn't really apply to you. It can't affect you in a negative way per se. So I've never been a person to say, oh, get rid of the social, get rid of this, get rid of that per se. But you do need to know how to be careful on how to manage both sides, because the public will always coexist with the private and vice versa. It's all about having a duality from both sides, and then potentially putting yourself in a position of power and control. Because first of all, we got to remove the attachment issues that we have in relation to the name and the legal person. Like we believe that we're the person, or we're the name that's on the document. The birth certificate is the legal person that they're talking about. The Social Security number is the legal person that they're talking about. It's not you. It never was you. So a big conflict of interest that I be seeing, people doing is that, like I said, they can't get away from the name, and they keep leaving variations of the name. That leaves you room for assumption. They can use assumption to kind of grant themselves some type of jurisdiction or interest over that particular name or entity or whatever. You see what I mean? So the way I see it is you will have a higher level of success if you just start from scratch. Sometimes you got to pull the plug and reset. Put it like this: in a movie, The Matrix. The whole objective of part one is for Neo to finally realize that he was the one, and to the point where he got inside the hallway and he realized that he was the one, and he told the agent for the first time with high confidence, like my name is Neo. Quit calling me Mr. Anderson, right? When he finally figured that out, and he was able to live with that and actually separate himself from that. Now, does he still mingle in the public and stuff like that? Yeah, but he knows how to make it home back to Zion by keeping in communication, with the proper authorities on the other side, and knowing how to get to the payphone when it's time to get to the payphone. All right. So how do we create this separation? Okay. Everything needs to start in trust and needs to stay in trust. That's why they said, in God we trust. They told you right there that the United States was the trust. Everything else is just corporations inside the trust. Right? So words have power. Another thing that we're doing is giving them power to address us. Remember, everything's about contracts. So address and address is two different words, or have two different meanings, but they sort of look the same, right? Address, and address. Okay, we give by applications. We give our names, our numbers, our emails, and all this stuff. We love giving people our information, but we get confused on how these people are finding us. These people are not like, I know we got high technology and stuff like that, but a lot of this stuff we're volunteering. A lot of the information that they're using against us, we are volunteering this information because of our ignorance of contracts. So we start educating ourselves on the important understanding contracts, and as it relates to the information we're using, we will know how not to profile ourselves. We are using public information in relation to private activities. Nobody should know your personal address besides family and friends. So when you go on this application and ask you for your name and address, you should not be giving them your private domain. You know, so the first areas of a so-called status correction, and I don't even like the word status correction because that's still in relation to a corporation. Corporations have status, right? Only a flesh and blood man and woman can have standing, two different things, right? But for entertainment purposes, we'll entertain status correction. So the first areas of status correction need to be correcting those original contracts and correcting our profile, which is the body information that we use to go into contracts, right? Because just because you go into contract with this agency, you know, that doesn't mean that they're not going to share that with a third party agency that's going to use that information against you in order to get you entangled to a whole nother obligation that you don't want to be a part of. You know, that's why when you do a background check and your stuff like that, you can do little soft background checks and see what comes up. That'll tell you right there if you're publicly vulnerable or not. You know, it's not guesswork. You know, so first thing is that you need to get a private email. We do have a private email service if you guys want it. It's free for everybody right now. It's called Mail Tunnel. We using Googles and Yahoos. That's their stuff. You know, your information is private until they want to use it against you, right? Your phone number, that number is now used to help verify your identity. We think it's just dealing with telephone communications and stuff like that. That telephone number is now linked to your legal person that makes your profile as a point of identification. If you don't believe me, then you need to, for those of you guys that use Zelle, try to sign up for Zelle without using a telephone number that's not tied to a social security number. And then that'll tell you right there. Zelle is so convenient. Remember, we're suckers for convenience, right? We're suckers for convenience. That's how they get us every time. We got to start asking questions. Anytime an agency asks you for your bank log, instead of allowing increments to be deposited into your account to verify your account, all that convenient stuff, attaching your bank accounts and Zelle and all that stuff, Zelle and Cash App, and that stuff is not. That's going to be a conflict of interest against you. You know, it's called KYC. KYC is know your customer. So once you give that clearance for them to access your account, now they get to monitor your spending habits, your behaviors and stuff like that. So you can easily disqualify, yourself for loans and funding and stuff like that just based on your spending habits. You know what I'm saying? Because you could have had enough money coming in that you could leverage, but now when it's time to apply for something, they're going to see that, okay, the same amount of money you got coming in might be going out. Or they might see that you like to go to the club every Saturday. You might blow it on bottles. You might blow it on weed. Who knows? But they get to see that now. You know what I'm saying? So you need to understand this stuff is not invisible anymore, as opposed to being able to just give a agency some bank statements and stuff like that, and whatever it says, they're not gonna overanalyze that. But now they have that in connection with the artificial intelligence. Everything's going to the metaverse. It's just crazy. So we gotta tighten up on stuff. Same thing that goes on with the blue check. With the blue check, don't become a sucker for these tactics. You see what I mean? That is going to turn that profile into a liability as it relates to your legal person in the public world in that particular space. So we need to correct our phone numbers. Phone numbers should not be attached to social security numbers. If it is, that should not be the telephone number that you use on applications. Email addresses, private email addresses, private addresses, meaning that you need a third-party address to operate in commerce. I mean, when you go into the application, actually what your address is, it needs to be a third party, meaning like the UPS store, a place that somebody can receive your mail on your behalf. So you acquire that particular address, then you go to the post office and do a legal address change and reroute all mail to this particular location. Now they don't have the power to address you. So now when the sheriff comes serve you, he can't serve you directly. Now he has to serve Sally at the front desk, and that, of course, that's not valid in the realms of law. All right. The next thing is, all right, the Holy Trinity. As far as structures and stuff like that, everything starts with the church. Everything is held up under the church. That's where the trust is held. So the church is at the top, just like the Vatican, right? And then we have the trust. So that's where the trust is held inside the church. Now the trust, and that's private. Now we also have to have public, some public babies to go operate in commerce. So that's when we have the trust may be granted powers of ownership for another legal creation, such as the LLC. So now you have LLCs that's going out there doing business, but now we might have the LLC might also be doing business as a whole another organization. So that's 4 layers. So we have the church, the trust, the LLC, and the DBA. That's a 4-legged monster right there. So we also have a 5th person, but the 5th person is invisible. The 5th person is you. The 5th person is the flesh and blood man and woman. The flesh and blood man and woman was never supposed to be in commerce. The problem is we're intertwining ourselves personally inside of these commercial contracts, agreements, obligations. Like with the police, they have a name and a badge. We can't just find out where they live at. They're not using their regular phone numbers. That's why they're so confident to be doing the stuff they're doing, because they feel like they can't be touched, even though that's going to change. But we got to understand, and they're bonded. We walking around here naked. We're not properly bonding and insuring ourselves. So now we get into like the concept of generational wealth, which is another thing that everybody talks about nowadays. But I still fail to hear a good concept of it, make it make sense. So a way you can guarantee generational wealth for your family is actually simple. You just got to commit to it. So once you establish that trust, say if you had, a newborn or whatever. What if you started? What if when the baby was first born, you establish the trust for the baby, right? And then you establish the life insurance policy for the baby. Now that trust is the full beneficiary of the life insurance policy. By the time it's only a 20-year policy, and it's a whole life policy. So by the time that baby turns 21, the policy is paid for, and it still is gaining infinite interest and cash value. So now you have a funnel that's paying into the trust, on an annual basis. And now, anytime your adult, kid asks you for money, all you're doing is tap into the trust that you already established. And simultaneously, you've been establishing the business credit. So the business credit is the private side. Personal credit is the public side. So think of that like that. So imagine we was doing this from the beginning with our children. You know what I'm saying? We was establishing the credit, the personal, the straw man credit, and the business credit. We've established a trust. We've established these life insurance policies. Now we won't be having so many people transitioning, and we all trying to cash out each other, trying to come together with a couple $1,000s for burial money. This stuff does not make sense. At some point we got to make it make sense and start repeating this curse. What else? All right, real quick. The whole concept of land and stuff like that. We know this was originally our land, but we have to understand and just deal with the fact that we took too long and we allowed them the power to have the most ridiculous form of adverse possession. So for those that's conscious of what adverse possession is, wouldn't that be considered adverse possession when we allow the United States to do all this damn time? So we can't contradict our understanding of things. They didn't pave the ways, they done laid the concrete and all that stuff. Yeah, this might be our land, but they own the concrete and every facility that they. I got somebody echo. So we got to break through the concrete. So if we're looking at territories as far as building sovereign nations, the main ones we need to look for is unincorporated territories. These places are scattered out all across the United States. You just got to do your due diligence and look for it, because they're not going to let us build these sovereign lands and our sovereign communities for our people to do the things that we really talk about doing, on their land. You know what I'm saying? Let's make this make sense. I don't have any personal problems against the oppressor, because at a certain point in time, you got to get to the point of we got to respect the game. They be some clever MFers. You got to give them a high five and peep game and learn game. History repeats itself, but at the same time, we need to entertain certain things that happen in history. But at the same time, we need to realize that the world, whoever don't realize the world, it has changed a million times within the past couple of years. I don't know what to tell you. So we can't get so lost behind it going. I'm being 100%. The answers is not even in no books no more, because things is moving too fast. So quit getting lost in the sauce. We don't got time for it. We're too far behind schedule. A lot of things that we have to do, we got to create. A lot of stuff, and that's what we kind of feel naked. Like, oh man, we have to create it. Yes, we have a lot of stuff that we need. We have to actually create from scratch, believe it or not, right? So this might not be in your library book, or it might have been done right in front of us. We just have to reinvent it, or we don't have to reinvent it. I mean, the government did a lot of stuff right in our face. The truth always lies right in front of you, right? But let's not watch the world change and wait till the new change be a normal custom and then try to, let's start doing this, do that. No, that's like me going and trying to print. We have our own currency, but what if I made the decision not to make that currency in the crypto space, and I started going minting dimes and nickels and stuff? It'll be cute, y'all will applaud me, but it's not gonna be effective in real time. So we have the opportunity to recreate the new world before the new world becomes the new world. They already told us what's about to happen if we watch half the movies. Avatar told us what's up. They showing us what's up. It's like, I'm not the guy to repeat the same thing and expect different results. I think that's the definition of insanity. So we got to break a lot of rules, and some people is going to be mad because they're not going to understand why we do things the way we do things. We have to do things that make sense. And some things are just common sense. You see what I mean? So that's why I'm here to tell y'all, just to wake everybody up as far as, rationalizing things and stuff like that. It's actually not that difficult, except everybody's all over the place. So there's pros and cons to having access to unlimited information. The good part is that we got access to unlimited information. The bad part is that we got access to unlimited information. You see what I mean? So it's like but we having a hard time comprehending, deciphering, and realizing what applies to what doesn't apply to. You see what I mean? So it's like, so you just confused. We read all these books. I see some of the same people in everybody's class. It's like, okay, what are we learning here and what are we applying? At some point we got to start applying the stuff that we're learning, because now this is not being productive. I'm not here to preach. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's what I need to say. I need to get back to work, So that's my spiel, y'all.
Tell us on fire. Thank you for that, Mo.
I don't know if that's my time or not, but y'all let me know.
Oh yeah, Mo, that's good, Mo. You gave us more than what we need. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Who background of that?
Yeah, I don't
Islam.
want. Yeah, I don't want to go over my time and stuff.
Oh no, Mo, that was perfect, Mo. That was more than what I expected, Mo. Islam. Islam, Mo gave us a whole outline right there. Islam. If you ain't got no understanding after that, I don't know what to tell you. Islam.
Peace. Peace.
In your videos, you can end your video sharing your screen share too, Mo, so we can get the screen back on correct recording. Okay. Thank you for that, Mo. Islam. Woo-wee. Islam, Mo. Islam. Islam. Who's the greatest? Who's the greatest? Who is the greatest? Woo-wee. Who is this prophet? Woo-wee. People say, we need to fund and trust. Well, we heard that before. Prophets say, hey, it takes finances to uplift the nation. Most say we need to get out of generational poverty. There's only three ways to get out of generational poverty, boy. And the most spoke on all of them. The first way is to get some land. Islam, you got to stop paying mortgages and rent. You in generational poverty if you pay mortgage and rent, because that means you didn't inherit no land. So that means you was born in a generational debt already put on you. When you hit 18, you already know the time of the game for our people. See, other nations ain't got to worry about that, Mo. That's an advantage. Islam. The second way you get out of generational poverty is you stop using your energy for money. Woo. Getting paid by the hour, you getting robbed. You getting robbed for your energy, man. They tell you $20 an hour, $30 an hour, $40 an hour. You know how much you are worth. How much energy your energy is worth. Oh boy, while they sitting playing golf, I'm with some brother Xavier's here. He work at the country club. Mo can tell you about these rich other nations. There ain't just one. There's other nations. And the last way you get out of generational poverty, more, and the most important way, you have to have somebody show you the way out. A mentor. So you have to actually have somebody who got out what you're trying to get out of. That done all these things. They got the land. Stop working for money. Islam, that understand education is power. Education will get you paid, not your body. See, we had us a mentor to come and show us that. We had two of them. Two of the greatest mentors. Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey. See, when you study them two brothers, oh man, this brother had 8 million followers, Noble Drew Ali, according to the FBI. 8 million followers. He had grocery stores. He had manufacturing departments. Come on now. He had trucking services. This Mo had a chauffeur. You don't want to get started on Marcus Garvey. He shows you how to get to it for real. That one started his own stock market. He had his own ship, fleet of ships. He seen the Europeans and other nations had a White Star line, so he started the Black Star line. Marcus Garvey said, you got to outdo and compete with every nation. He said the Chinese, if they see one person get one ship, they gonna get two. It's time for us to get our own Chinatown, boys. That Mo spoke on some things about that trust and finances. That Mo is exceptional in that department. I might have to bring them more back to Sunday school. Because Sunday school, we're giving out a free credit class. And that's exactly what we're going into, some finances. We got to insurance specialists coming. Islam, to learn how to fund that trust. Oh yeah, I'm working on my funds. That Mo said was true. You can borrow against your life insurance policy with no credit check, Mo. You can pay into it per month and not to the European banks, but your own bank, and borrow against it after 1 year. I'm in the process of leaving my footprints. Islam, because I got 160K coming in a year. Islam. I need mine, bro. Because it's going to take finances to uplift this nation. We're going to park, and after that, we're going to go out to the farm. Or we're going to go visit some land that we trying to acquire. Islam, we're going to go see these things. But then we here for a reason, more to get out some generational poverty here. Like the Most said, we can go from temple to temple, from school to school. You can go to organization to organization. But when you go, where is you gonna get? What is you gonna get out of that? What is the end game? What is the final result that you trying to reach? Because we all trying to reach somewhere, and that's our salvation. I know I want to stop paying rent, mortgages. Islam. We can probably go around the world and ask everybody that 9 out of 10 people probably agree. And that might be a Christian, a Muslim, whatever. Right? So when are we going to come together and get to that point? We're going to let religion divide us? We're going to let principles divide us? When are we going to put these differences aside and do what we need to do as a nation? See, I see our people, I be talking about unity, and people are like, yeah, we got unity. Yeah, we unify the business. I see people come together, partnerships for business all the time. We come together for parties, baby showers. Come together for church. But we never come together to stop generational poverty. I mean, generations. Not just for us. Not just make a couple dollars for us. I'm talking about the grandbabies. See, that's what our prophet came and showed us how to do. He came and brought us something, not just for him. Oh, no. He lived well, but it wasn't just for him. He did something for generations. That's why I honor this brother. It's my prophet. I don't care who say it ain't their prophet. That's cool. That's personal. My belief is personal. Islam, we all have religious freedom. But I needed me a mentor. I needed me some guy. Ain't nobody I know can guide me the way I needed to be guided. To bring me out of the state of darkness that I was in. Who would you say all white? Oh, man, I used to wear all black. Islam. And black, according to science, means death. Islam. I was in darkness. And along my travels, I met some wonderful people. When I moved out here to Texas and I woke up, oh man, I got a peace of mind out here, man. Oh, the air was different. The people was different. The state of mind was just different, man. I was used to concrete junk. State of mind was scarcity. People who didn't believe we can make it across the street. So we fought against the people across the street. Islam, we couldn't even unify from one block to the next and come to a common goal with that. And Noble Ali found me once I made my first step to relocate myself out of that situation. Islam. And on the way I met this brother, Walker Davis Bell. Before I was Grand Sheep, before I even joined the Morris Science Temple, I was just searching for some truth. The Morris was holding down the only temple I can find in Houston. They was speaking my language, and the Morris reached out to me. He said, come on through. This is how I met this Morris. I looked on YouTube. I said, where's the Morris in Houston? This is the only one that popped up. Islam. only more popped up. And I say, I gotta meet this brother. I mean, I never seen a real Moor. And so I'm letting you know my trouble. I have never seen a Moor and wear fez and was proud of that. And then had some knowledge of the things that I had knowledge on, I was coming into knowledge of. And the brother opened me with welcome arms. Him and another brother, Noble Drew Bay, that was holding down where the brother's from. And if y'all know anything about Texas, it's big out here, brother. It's like the whole country in one city. It's one side of town takes an hour to get to the other side of town. You trying to make it here by 7. Oh my God. And I went down there faithfully, week by week. Every time brothers had me, I was there. I had to get that knowledge that them brothers were spreading. Because they was the only ones I knew spreading. Before I met the Moorish Science Still Boy of America that I'm here with today. And I told that brother, I said, brother, man, I need y'all. Because what we finna do, and here in Texas, I seen a vision. Back then, I was like 2000, gotta be 19, 18, maybe, 19. I say, Moors, we need our own government on this land. This land right here, Houston. This is the place for it. And I would say, hey, well, yeah, he let me know the roadblocks he was facing. He said, well, we got this and this, and this brother ain't operating right, Islam. I said, don't worry about it, no. I'm going to do something. I'm going to do what I can do, Islam. And I got this location on, and praise Allah for the people I met along the way, Grand Sheikh in California, all uninstalled Supreme Grand Sheikh, Kennedy, my bay. These Moors gave me the opportunity to fulfill my promise. They gave me the opportunity. And this brother, Walker Davis Day, how honest to you, brother, man, is on. So without further ado, I'm going to yield the floor to this brother. This brother is a great teacher, especially in civics and law. One of the brothers that I know for a fact goes in the courtrooms right here in Houston. I have witness. There's one I bear witness. One of the brothers that stand on principle. And he ain't out here trying to break no laws or trying to get out of something. Islam, this brother is an upright brother. And he does what the prophet told us to do, enforce that Constitution. Islam. And many of y'all might know the brother Walker Davis Day. Islam.
Islam.
I get it. Good.
Thank you for that, brother.
Islam.
I'm not the most outspoken like the rest of the speakers, so I'm going to just try and do the best that I can. I'm going to give a slight breakdown on my background first before we get into the topic of the day, the status correction and the sovereignty, just to show you how I got into it and the things that inspired me to get to where I am now. So, like Brother Antoine, I started off in the darkness where we all got a pass, but I did come into what I call the consciousness movement first. So I saw the different, what I call schools of thought. You got your Hebrew Israelites, your Moors, your indigenous, all these different ones. And it was true everywhere I found it. But when it came to remedy right now, doing things right now that would help and benefit us, tangible things right now, it was always the Moor. Law would always come up, certain things. And throughout all these movements, we hear about certain things. It's legendary type of stuff that we hear in law that we like, can't none of that stuff really be done. So in dealing with Moors, I would hear, all of this, all of that, the most, and I was like, okay, they're doing everything. So this was early 2010, 2012, around that time, I know for sure I was into the Moor and all that information, but I hadn't really went all the way in. So around the time of the incident with our brother Mike Brown, I'm pretty sure y'all all remember. There was another brother, he didn't make as much news, that also got killed by the police. His name was Mansur Ballbay. Yeah, some people know. So, Fez wearing brother, member of the temple. And the family, they went to the grand chief for the answers, for the remedy, to say, what do we do? And they told me to get a lawyer, and it turns out they never got justice. I never really understood what happened. It took me months and months. I searched around through Facebook, through different groups and all of that. When I found out the story, I was like, oh, crap. Because when I saw it, there was a more, Feds wearing more member of the temple. I was like, man, the Moors finna come out and they finna slay the government for this. I was expecting Taj and everybody to line them down the block, everybody to come out. And when it didn't happen, I was like, oh, I got to see what's going on. So that inspired me to really get into my own study. So, like the brother Antoine Bay out here.
Somebody got a phone.
It's all right. I couldn't find a temple like for hundreds of miles, like not even in Texas. Nowhere around. So I got to studying on my own, learning, little things, a lot that I could do for myself. Bumped into a temple out here and the Grand Chief there. This was a couple years later. The Grand Chief there, they had just really got started, but they didn't know law and they weren't even invited about law. And I know some of y'all have experienced this dealing with Moors, where we talk about certain things when it comes to law, sovereignty, status correction, and they're just like, no, they pushing that away, And I understand, the faith side of it. I'm with the prophet more than probably most Moors that actually do teach paperwork. I'm known as the paperwork Moor to some people. So the brother Hellraiser getting up there, like he killed it. Like, I don't know how I can come behind that. But basically, when it comes to law, status correction, and the things that I learned, I'm taking from the beginning, like the brother Hellraiser. It starts off, as a baby with us in this country. With that birth certificate, that's our original contract. They mislabel us Negro, Black, or colored, depending on what decade you're born in. Your mother, she signs off as the informant. Basically, she done snitched on you. And they're making you a debtor to a debt that the United States agreed to take on, that we didn't agree to take on. Matter of fact, they agreed to repay the debt of all the citizens. This goes back to 1933 when they got rid of the gold. They said, we're going to discharge everything dollar for dollar, but they never told us how. That's one of the things I found, but before I get into that, I got to get into the overall remedy for everything, and that's nationality. Because everyone in this movement, not just Moors, the Europeans, anybody that they call a sovereign citizen, that sovereignty word, that's a taboo word, but it's actual truth. Now, like our brother Kenneth said, sovereignty comes in a couple of different ways, but in general, it's us raising up someone to that sovereign level. Basically electing someone amongst us, our people, to the government, or to work for us in government, to be that public person for us while we stay in the private. So that gets into the public and private when it comes to status correction as well. And like I said, the answer is nationality. So we must go back to our ancient nationality as the answer is what I found. So before we were Negro, Black, and colored, before slavery, anybody that they considered Black, we were Moors before this. Our Moorish empire, we had several countries that had jurisdiction over most of the world. Morocco was a superpower, was the superpower, like the United States is now today. And there was this little country, England, trying to get their way up. They broke off, when they came over here. And to become a country, you have to be recognized by another country. You can't just declare yourself independent, like the Declaration of Independence. So they had to have allies, and their allies at that time were Morocco and the Moorish Empire, Morocco, Tripoli, Tunis, Algiers. So all of these jurisdictions, these sovereign nations recognize the people of the United States to say, okay, y'all can be a country and a government too. We'll recognize y'all as part of us and as part of the nations of the world. And at that time, anybody that looked like us around the world, we would have been considered a Moor. So by us just saying that we're Moorish American, we're tying ourselves back to that ancient nationality. So we're removing ourselves essentially from their jurisdiction that they create, because we already have one and it's been recognized in international law. So I'm not sure how many of y'all know about the story of Noble Drew Ali, 1928. He went to the Pan American Conference. This was a precursor to what is the UN now. So when the UN talks about diplomatic status and recognizing people as having nationality and ancient nationality, they all refer back to that 1928 conference where the prophet went and put our nationality on the record. So when he said, we are a nation, it was true. And we have our own jurisdiction right here on this land. So to start with that goes back to our babies now, and that birth certificate. So the name on there is Canaan. They put it in all caps, and that is a legal disability. So when we talk about status correction, what are we correcting? What status is it that they're putting us in? They're putting us in the status of a minor, not an adult. So we are correcting that by competently claiming who we are, what our status is. So when we talk about status correction, we should be teaching this to our babies at 18. This is what they should be learning to do at 18. They should be, at that point, proclaiming their nationality. And then going after all of these contracts, like the brother Hellraiser said, starting off with the birth certificate, social securities, and any other thing you may have, correcting those. And that starts off with the name. So Noble Drew Ali said, affix your L in your baby. We got to have a free national name. Now, in the Moorish Empire, we had a few more Moorish names than just the El, the Babe, the Alis and all those. So I recognize all, national names. So we'll have brothers that come to me from different walks. They'll have an X or a Shabazz or Farrakhan or something like that. Come on, y'all my brothers. Y'all are Moors too. That's a free national name. That's not European. So we just need to fix your paperwork and bring y'all over to our jurisdiction. So public and private now. There are different ways of going about it. Some people have to work in the public dealing with their commerce. These are people more that are like lawyers, judges, people that have strict government jobs where you're going to do more background checks, more extreme background checks. For those people, I recommend a more public process doing a court order name change. But you also have to throw in your affidavit of nationality and give a reason why, stating that you proclaim your nationality. But there's another portion of it, and this goes to the private too. When you proclaim your nationality, doing your name change affidavit, nationality affidavit, part of it is going back to that original contract, the birth certificate. It makes you a citizen of their nation, not ours, which is incorrect. So part of that is expatriation and proclaiming our nationality. Not only are we telling them what nation we are a part of, we're telling them, no, we're not even a part of that. We were never really a part of that. And that was a mistake. So when it comes down to law, we can make that separation. And by having it on nationality affidavit that you file, or even court order name change, you do a public or private, you're able to use that as evidence in court for what they call diversity of jurisdiction. So when you have two people of different nationalities that have a claim against each other, or one has a claim against the other, there's only certain courts that can actually handle that. And we're supposed to be dealing with these things in a higher federal court, but it starts all the way down at the bottom, at the very beginning, correcting our status or correcting that minor status, showing them, hey, we're competent, we're adults and we're able to handle our affairs. But also, sovereignty is not an individual thing. Status correction, therefore, can't be an individual thing. So we have to correct things as a nation as well. So that starts with government. Now, the lowest form of government right now that's being operational on this land that we can take control of will be, believe it or not, homeowners association. And that starts off with getting land, like we've already been talking about, having our own land, allodial land, building up our own community, starting our own local governments that way. And another thing, I've never said this one publicly. Some of y'all may be familiar with the brother Lord Abba. There's an old Moor that he don't even claim to be a Moor no more. But one thing he said years ago is that we need the Moorish American Party. We need our own political party. So political parties have a few different bodies in them. It's the elected people, the ones that we elect up to be our sovereigns, to be our leaders. It is the people that are working to be elected, but then it's the body of the people as well. The people that are supporting these politicians, put them into place. So we start off from this bottom level, individually getting our statuses corrected. So you have adults, people that are of the age of majority, that are able to vote someone in and be competent about it and have someone to represent them in the community properly. So you can start it off, homeowners association, communities like that, until we can get our own city. Because we're not to that point yet. A lot of people want to, in this movement, be private. They want to drop off the map, don't use no IDs, no this, no that, don't talk to no police, nothing. And right now, it's not a reasonable thing to do because we don't have our own allodial land where we have everything going and we have our resources where you don't have to travel off of that land to get your resources. So until then, we need a little bit of both public and private status correction because we're going to need people to go and get resources for our community, even if we have people that's going to stay on our land and never leave. And the thing is, starting off with any amount of land, any amount of property, community, you can always expand it. So communities start off becoming unincorporated cities. As more and more land comes around, what they do is they annex that land. They grab it, take it, pull it under the same jurisdiction. So technically, we could do this if we had a community of people right now. We need people that own their land to say, hey, we want it to be all a part of this community, join it together, start, homeowners association, start off. Don't even start off with the city. Don't let them know what we're doing. We're just trying to start a new community for right now. But correct this generationally. Learn how to pass down an allodial title. See, we learn about land and passing things down from a European perspective. You got to have a will to pass everything down to your children. But on the allodial side, as a king, you can only pass allodial land to one person. So if you have multiple children, you got to realize, okay, this one is the responsible one that can handle this, and pass it on to them. So that person is the one that manages the kingdom. That's what kings do. And this is why, in our elder ages, people was fighting over that position. They was killing their brothers and sisters trying to get there. But we got to get back into that mindset of this is really how you hold wealth and pass it on. This is why we did it in the first place. So individually and collectively, we need to be working together to correct our statuses, to raise our sovereignty level, because that's really all it is. We have sovereign jurisdiction. All of these things that we talk about have been recognized on paper. What we don't have is enough brothers and enough sisters that are competent in law that can go articulate this outside of these type of situations. So when you put in a piece of paperwork to a courtroom and it works, a motion, affidavit or whatever, and it go and you get that remedy, as opposed to people, get my language, throwing shit against the wall trying to see what's going to fit. I done a lot of that, I'm sure, some of y'all have too. But, we're past that, and like Brother Antoine Bay said, I brought out, some law books, all kind of stuff, because I didn't know where I was going to go with it. So one of my famous teachings, or not teachings, but sayings from my YouTube is private process is the difference between getting private remedy and making a news. I saw too many Moors when I was coming up in the 2010s, 20 teens, Morris services and squats on $1 million mansion, and not, dudes locked up doing, however many years for crazy stuff like that. And I knew coming into the movement, like, yeah, this stuff there's legal ways of doing this, right? It's gotta be some ways of doing this. So that was the kind of thing that I looked into. So, I'm all about doing things proper procedure. Even though we are Moors and we have our ways of doing things, when it comes to law, there's rules of chess, basically. So that would be like the Code of Criminal Procedure, Code of Civil Procedure, the Civil Forms book and things like that, that are the chess moves that they move, how they move the pieces. So when we come into their courtrooms, we're trying to correct our status or we're trying to get remedy for, some charge that's been put on us incorrectly. We have to use their chess move. Even though we have our own piece, we got to know how to move it in their world, And when we learn how to do that properly as a team, not just individually, but collectively, that's when we're really going to get to the level that we're trying to get to. And that's my piece.
Islam. Islam, Moors? Islam? Islam? Who's the greatest? Who's the greatest? Who is the greatest? And who is his prophet? Islam, Moors. Woo! That boy can break it down. He break it down for you so simple. This brother tell you how government instructed to you so simple. Like it's just simple. Like it's just that easy. This is the struggle we've been struggling with for 100 years in this movement. Get to the part where we need to get to. See, our prophet told us this. He said, boys, I didn't tell you everything, because if I told you everything, go back to sleep. He said, I'm going to leave this European here long enough to teach you how to run a government. And he came and established the government for us. But now it's time for us to run it. We have to understand government principles. We have to understand what a grand chief has the power to do. We have to be competent in law. That's awareness of, I'm not here to overthrow nobody or to hang against nobody, but I'm here to spread awareness of nationality. Because nationality means civics. See, that's a science of law. That's a department that deals with how you operate as a mass of people. Islam. Sovereignty. And then our Quran, it's a holy word. Sovereignty. It's a holy word. It's in the Quran. Yet it's used as a curse word against us. Because we don't have, what the brother's saying is we don't have proper government-to-government relations. Who represents you? See, these Europeans fought for their life for that. They said taxation without representation is tyranny. And they went to war with that because they didn't have the representation. They went to war with representation. Think about that. Who's going to represent you? Who's going to step up? And who's willing to support that person who's going to step up? Because he's going to need all the support he can get, or she. Islam, the prophet said the greatest of you will be your servant. Islam, that's public service. That's government position. See, it's not for, you don't raise a representative so he can have all the power to himself. It's for the welfare of the kingdom. Islam. So that's what we're here to do today. I hope y'all got something out of this. From all these great speakers. They made some sacrifices just like y'all did. Islam, bring y'all this message. From different perspectives. Everybody got a different portion of understanding now. Don't close your ears. That's the whole point. Your heart's up to different, something you never may heard. Or you might not believe in. I gave all of us a portion of understanding. Each one of us has justice and Jesus in us. Have the video. Now I'm gonna look at it. See? That's how you know when we drop in that holy breath mode, the video change on you. It turn purple on you, bro. That's all.
Islam.
You see that? See what that purple represents chakra. Islam? One of the highest chakras. I mean, we on high vibration right now at this moment. Islam? To see Allah is the all-knowing, the intelligence. And when we come together for intelligence, we tapping into that infinite wisdom. And that's what we're here for, salvation, Allah, and unity. And the only way we're going to get to salvation is through Allah and unity. Intelligence. We've been using emotion long enough. We've been cursing people out long enough. It don't work. I mean, everybody works sometimes. Get it wrong. It's remedy with the right words. It's love. You don't got to mess with our sisters. Love. They're going to set you right every time. You're going to be like, oh, sis, we got that? Oh, man. I couldn't get it. And you went and talked to the brother and everything, all right. Sometimes sisters can be your best representation. And that's what we need now. We need some representation. We have political action committee. Brother King Hill set that up. Thursdays, we have meetings on that for political action. With different temples, non-temples. It don't matter. It's for political action in our community. And he has good outline plans for us to take. Some of those being some of what the brother Walter Davis Bates mentioned about us having representation inside these political platforms we call parties, right? Having representatives in that. See, the prophet was a step ahead of that. He had, I forget the brother's name, Oscar Della Priest. Yeah, Islam. So the prophet was thinking on the same line. So it's time for us to be political, not just on election day, not just every 4 years when a new president comes in. Because like the brother said, it levels the government. See, we operating from a national standpoint. But we part and parcel of this federal government because we the ones set it up for them, man. Article 6 of the Constitution say they adopted the Constitution. Who knows what adoption means? Adoption means it ain't yours. They adopted the Constitution from Muslim law, according to Obama. Said in Egypt, in the Treaty of Tripoli, Article 11. He said the United States is not founded on Christianity. So we here to do what the prophet say and return Christianity and church back to the European nations. See, when you enforce that Constitution and the principles, you're enforcing something that's ancient, boys. Oh, no, the European right there. Oh, no, he's not that. We're giving too much credit. Now, I love my European brothers and sisters. But that comes from us. We had a government on this land before we was calling ourselves Indian. Before that, we still had government. So it's time to return and reclaim that status. We had it before. It ain't far-fetched. It's possible. See, we talking today, it might sound like a figment of imagination, like, okay, yeah, it sounds good. No, this is what we own here. This is what I'm striving for here 24 hours a day. You want to ask me what I'm on? I'm trying to reach salvation. I'm in this temple every day with nobody here, Mo. I'm at this platform speaking to myself. Islam, I'm teaching myself some civics if I got to. I don't take no breaks. I'm looking for those who serious like me, because I'm serious, Mo. I'm serious. I'm putting my life on the line for this one. I took a pledge. I took my 8 up pledge. So that I want for sister here too. We're looking for 8 ups. This sister come all the way from Virginia to strengthen this body politic. You look at the Sundre Free Moors, it only took 4 of them Moors to change the law. 4 Moors in 1789 changed the law in the United States, in Virginia. Islam. So the prophet started this with what, 4 or 5 individuals. Islam. What's on the back of our 101? He started this with Emilio, Small Bay, Levy Bay, and Foreman Bay. And himself. That made 5. And he grew to 8 million. He do it once. It's only gonna take a handful. We don't need hundreds of people in here, once. We're grateful if you do come and help out. But trust and believe. I'm just looking for the ones that's willing to put their life on the line like I am. You know? And I ain't willing to say we finna go ahead and die and we warn European, warn on the European and nothing like that. I'm talking about finances, economy, economics, your lifeline. Your energy is money, boys. Your time is money. Islam, right now we passed the time. And we did good. Because I thought we was going to go way longer. I had to cut myself short, though. I was ready to go in. I had a whole list of things to talk about. I said, I was going to ask you some questions. I got questions for y'all. But how honest everybody that came in. Islam, tomorrow we're going to continue this. We're going to have a cookout. Talk some more nationalities, more ideas, and get to know each other. Because we got a bond, we got to create it. See, Ali taught us how to have a bond with each other. And he taught us that this bond is something you must never forget. When you leave here, don't forget this bond when we separate in the world. Remember the bond that we have. Remember what we're trying to achieve here. When one of your brothers is in adversity, assist you. One of your sisters is in trouble, forsake her not. See, love conquers hate. In this hateful world we in, Moors. Oh, man. These Moors, I ain't going to say Moors. I call everybody Moors. So I don't even think I'm talking about Moors. These people, our people, they love and hate you. So we got to embody love. And I ain't talking about just any type of love. I'm talking about divine love, pure love. I'm talking about love for Allah, the creator of us all. See, when you love Allah, you love what he created. That's like when you love a sister as a brother, and she got children, you love them as your own. Islam, because she created them. So I love everything Allah created. I don't got to get to know you, boy. I already love you. The prophet ain't have to know you. He said, I love my people and I desire their unity and mind back to the Constitution of the faith. Day by day, they can violate the Constitution, laws, and principles. Day by day, boy. So every day, keep this in thought. Leave here with this bond of affection that we built. Tomorrow, let's build on some more of this bond of affection with some good old food and some good old hoodies. And then Sunday school, we're going to come back and we're going to have another free class. And we're going to talk about some finances. Because, see, the greatest message I got today are all these brothers is let's do something about it. Right? That's one thing I can agree, all of them agree on. So let's do something about it. Whether it's going to be paperwork or working on yourself or working on the finances. Let's start some action right now today. Tomorrow ain't promised. You know what these Europeans put a date on? They put a date on the collapse of the United States dollar. There's a date on that now. See, the prophet told us 100 years ago it was coming. He said, put up your 90-day food supply. These Europeans going to let you down. See, you've been dependent on these Europeans. That can starve you out. Get you some water. I'm going to need this thing, boy. These Europeans are telling the truth now. They saying, hey, by June 1st, this going to hit. See, this is the final call for unity. See, I ain't just out here trying to protect myself just because I want to be heard and seen. Back in December, I told myself I was done with the social media. I took a fast off of it. Then I'm more. He was there. It took a lot of telling me, no, go back on the internet. Reach out one more time. And I was done with it. So this is the final call for me. This is my final try. After this, I don't know what's next for us, boy. I'm just giving you the ugly truth. I don't know what's next for us. The prophet said we need to live close by each other so we can protect each other. We need political protection, but we need physical and spiritual protection as well, boys. And it don't matter if you're not ready, because you're going to be forced to get ready. It don't matter if you don't think this is important. It's going to become important. So, praise Allah for bringing everybody here today, bringing all these speakers to speak, bringing everybody in Telegram land to listen. How honest to everybody who traveled across these lands to come here. Good Lord. For hundreds of dollars. As long had to sacrifice time. Had to leave their toils. Make it here. Fix their wrap up that turkey. Islam, right in time. Make it. Let's see y'all. How earnest do you see the staff here working hard? You got Q's photography, you like it in our creation. Islam, how honest to them for seeing my vision. Because they not just here just for some money. But I'm going to pay them. I'm going to make sure they get that. But we sat down, and the biggest thing they say, look, we see the vision. And this got to get out to the people. We want to help. Because I can't do it. I be trying to work these YouTubes and these phones, and it turned purple. I'm going to, I was struggling right before the meeting just to get the internet to work. Islam, I need help. And the message has to get out. And the internet is the quickest way to get it out. That's our media. And we have to control our own media. In June, but that's a celebration of our people not getting the message on time. Islam? See, our people ain't getting the message on time. And it's going to cost them. Oh, man, it's going to cost them, boys. Woo! Man, I've been preparing my stomach for it. Massive death. The prophet said, you're going to look up and you're never going to see a man on the street. He said, the prophet said, your baby going to come home and say, Mama, I seen a man today. A man. Yo, while you out there, boys, it's coming. They on some population control and trying to take us out. Bill Gates and bought all the land. I just learned he's trying to induce these new seeds called RNA seeds. Mm-hmm. Woo! I say these devils. Man, they own this, boys. They want to put something in you through the food. Because the quickest way to poison or get to a king is through poison. They want to put in the food and get us to die, boys. They want to feed us poison. They want to poison the water out there in Flint, Michigan, that's still being poisoned. Mississippi still being poisoned. They done implemented Jim Crowism 2023 in Mississippi right now. Islam, so keep on thinking this again. These Europeans ain't playing with you. Just like we, the descendants of our ancestors who was royalty, the descendants are the ones who colonized us. So My message here today is, hey, join me in my mighty mission. It's love. Because I need help, boys. I'm here to step up on the front line. I can go represent. I can sit with the politicians, bro. I can sit with some of these judges. And some of our other brothers can too. But we can't do it alone. We need the ones that's going to support us. We need the ones that got courage enough to protect us. Boy, they slandering me. I don't know worse than anybody else, but they heard slander in the book. And the prophet said, if you read the speeches, the prophet, he says there's a host of jealousy about it. It's real, bro. Any man to step up, a woman to step up to the platform, oh man, you get crucified like Jesus. Mm-hmm. They want to know how you live and how you walk and how you talk. Islam, oh, that brother don't walk. He don't talk. Oh, that brother, his last girlfriend said he was a life. Islam. They want to judge the message and not listen to the message. They want to judge Noble Ali because he said he was a prophet. Oh, that brother think he God. He think he definitely. So you don't believe I'm a prophet, watch my prophecies. That's just that simple, proof in the pudding, boys. So we here to be the living proof of the prophecy. I ain't gonna be too long with it, boys, because I'm already going to get on fire and calm down. And we're gonna end this meeting. Because I know y'all hungry. We got some food downstairs waiting on y'all. It might be a little cool now. Be the house, man. Right up the stove, man. I want to do some expectations. I want y'all hate, boy. Where's the bitch? Do the best I can. So we're going to close out. I'm going to read from the prophet and our Morris and every prayer's custom. This comes out of your Morris literature. You got your Morris literature, pull it out. Read along. It's the copy right there of, right here. So you know, plan every week. Article 26. These are the prophet words. To be proclaimed at every meeting, Lawrence. He wants this proclaimed at every meeting. He didn't just say some of them, everyone. The prophet said this. Islam, I am glad to know that I have a few faithful ones among you all. And I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about it. In the movement, now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials in the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful movements that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay the divine respect to me in the movement will be with me. This is why I'm calling upon all faithful ones to increase their faithfulness to be your prophet in your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it bad. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can show the side of discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy. Because of my fame and nobility, the nations of the world will not recognize the movement without either prophet being here. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet knows about Islam. All rise for the reading of Morris American prayer. Islam, we don't face the east, that's the American flag. As customary, we say this Morris American prayer. Heal such a Morris, feet at a 90 p.m. Spread your wings, Morris. You angels. Second, 2 to the right. Repeat after me. Morris American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
The Father of love.
Father,
Truth, peace,
peace,
freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My God.
My God.
My salvation.
And my salvation.
By night. And by day. He is holy. Amen. You can now greet each other, boys. Thank you, boys. In the Telegram land, Islam, we will have a picture taken the pool downstairs on the first floor.
Islam Morris.
Islam, Morris. Anybody need
Islam. Islam.
One last thing. One last thing. Hold on, boys. Wait. One last thing.
You can't have both of them.
We want to open the floor for donations, Islam, and contributions, Islam, to keep this going, Islam. So we're going to read off Act 3. Since reminded me, see, I be needing help with finances, boys. I need some donations. Send some cash out, boys. So, it's a burden on you.
Act 3.
Oh, so this is
It is lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation, and if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch him. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation.
Islam, Morris. So I put the cash out in the group chat, and everybody donate if they can. I know. That's what you want to help. See what I need help on Islam, boys. See everybody Sunday, Islam.
Make sure everybody's signed in.
The recording will be on YouTube. And the ebooks will be sent out. Islam. Oh, yeah.